Welcome, everyone. I am so thrilled you're here with us today. We're jumping right into a truly beautiful, incredibly empowering explainer on the upcoming book, Menopause, A Wise Passage. For way too long, the cultural conversation around this life stage has been, well, mostly silence, confusion, or just a deep sense of dread. But today, we're throwing all that out. We're going to look at the actual science, the deep ancestral wisdom, and the true biology of what is actually happening in our bodies.
Okay, let's dive into this. The entire foundation of our explainer today rests on a pretty radical reframe. Listen to this. Menopause is not a disease. It's just not. It isn't a malfunction, a deficiency, or some sort of proof that something in you is breaking down. It is a biological renovation. Think about it. An architecture that your body spent enormous energy building over the years is being deliberately dismantled, all so that something entirely new can be built in its place. So, to navigate this transition together, we've got a clear map. We'll be walking through redefining the threshold, a biological renovation, the grandmother hypothesis, a spectrum of care, and finally, arriving in power.
Let's start with section 1, redefining the threshold.
So, the crucial point is understanding our terms. To truly advocate for our bodies, we really have to use precise clinical language. Because honestly, language is often the very first thing this transition takes from us before we can claim it back. Here's the big difference that's so widely misunderstood. Menopause is actually just a single day on the calendar. Literally just one day. It's the 12-month anniversary of your last period. Everything leading up to that day, the shifting cycles, the weird sleep changes, the brain fog, all of that is perimenopause. And this long threshold, it can last anywhere from a few months to nearly a decade. To help make sense of this, clinicians increasingly use something called the straw plus 10 framework. Basically, it stages this healthy aging process based on your actual hormonal patterns rather than just looking at your age. It divides the years into early and late perimenopause and then postmenopause. And oh, there is one truth here that surprises a lot of women, so we absolutely need to say it out loud. Pregnancy is still totally possible during this perimenopause window. Your ovulation might get unreliable, for sure, but it is not completely gone right up until that 12-month marker. Moving on to section 2, a biological renovation. Let's look at the physiological architecture of the body for a second. Why does this threshold feel the way it does? Why can it be so disruptive? Well, it all comes down to the incredible, vast reach of estrogen. See, estrogen receptors are woven directly into your brain tissue, your bones, your heart, your skin. It's everywhere. So when your body naturally starts turning down its production of estrogen, that hormonal decline naturally ripples outward into practically every single system you have. Let's just take our time here and look at exactly how this plays out. In the mind, estrogen receptors in the hippocampus and prefrontal cortex mean that brain fog and memory changes are real, physiologically grounded experiences. You are not losing your mind, I promise. In the bones, declining estrogen speeds up silent bone loss, which is why we really need to proactively tend to them. In the heart, our cardiovascular advantage narrows a bit, calling for a bigger focus on metabolic health. And sleep? Well, lower estrogen makes the brain's internal thermometer, the hypothalamus, super sensitive. And that's exactly what triggers those lovely hot flashes and night sweats. So right now, I just want you to pause. Ask yourself, which system, mind, bones, heart, pelvic tissue, sleep, or skin is asking loudest for my attention right now? Seriously, where in your body might you be white-knuckling through something completely alone, just brushing it off as part of getting older, when it actually deserves real, tangible care? Validating what you are physically experiencing is absolutely the first step toward real healing. All right, section 3, the grandmother hypothesis.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how we zoom out from the individual body and look at the sheer awe-inspiring evolutionary science behind the stage of life. Because, biology doesn't just do things by accident. Evolutionary anthropologists actually puzzled for decades over why human females live so long beyond their fertile years. And fieldwork by anthropologist Kristen Hawkes among the Hadza people of Tanzania suggests something incredible. Post-reproductive women actually extended human life expectancy by providing food for their grandchildren. So the wise elder woman, she was never just some sentimental myth. She is quite literally one of the central reasons our entire species survived.
I mean, just look at this contrast. Our modern Western cultural narrative loves to insist that menopause is a decline, an ending, right? A slow fade into invisibility. But that's just a limiting choice one culture made at a specific point in time. The evolutionary reality, the hard biological truth, is that post-reproductive life is an incredibly rare design built specifically for wisdom, protection, and vital essential leadership. And get this, we are not alone in this. We share this incredibly rare biological trait with a small, majestic handful of other species on Earth, like orcas, Asian elephants, and some chimps. Decades of research on resident orca pods show that post-reproductive female orcas literally lead their pods to salmon during lean years. Their mere presence actually calms social conflicts among the adult males that they raised. She doesn't just recede to the edges of the pod, she leads the whole shebang. She becomes the keeper of the map. Just let that sink in for a second. Nature does not build a post-reproductive lifespan as an afterthought. It builds it rarely, and only under conditions where that life stage does something so absolutely essential that the reproductive years alone could never accomplish. Just like that elder orca, you are stepping into a role that is built on purpose. You really are. Section 4. A spectrum of care. With that profound purpose in our minds, let's transition back to the practical toolkit. Because while this is a completely natural and beautiful renovation, it still requires real support. Let's move to and see how this builds a comprehensive spectrum of care across different traditions. On one hand, modern medicine offers hormone replacement therapy, or HRT, for systemic estrogen support. But alongside it, traditional Chinese medicine looks at the depletion of deep kidney energy, so treating a cooling yin deficiency that causes heat, or warming a yang deficiency that causes fatigue. And Ayurveda views this as Rajoni Vruchi, balancing that rising drying vata energy. These aren't competing ideologies at all. They are actually deeply complementary tools. Think about it. Thousands of years before modern endocrinology mapped this transition out, hormone by hormone in a sterile lab, TCM and Ayurveda were describing the exact same biological cascade. They just used older names. So holding both languages at once, the scientific receptor and the energetic essence, it really helps us treat the body as a whole rather than just zooming in on isolated lab values. And this ancient wisdom translates into incredibly grounded, actionable daily tending, things you can do right now. Dress in breathable, natural layers and keep your sleeping room genuinely cool to help that nervous system of yours settle down. Protect your changing bones by prioritizing protein, calcium, and magnesium. If you're feeling that cold-handed yang deficiency we mentioned, lean into warm, cooked foods. Try setting a consistent daily rhythm. And hey, if you're exploring herbal allies, the wisest approach is to just try one at a time for about 2 to 4 weeks. That way you can truly listen to how your unique body responds. Finally, Section 5. Arriving in power. As we bring this explainer toward its close, I want us to really reflect on what we've uncovered today. We are actively shedding that cultural dread, and we're stepping into something far more ancient and far more powerful. So I want to ask you to sit with this question. What would it feel like to see your own post-reproductive years as a role nature built on purpose, rather than just some decline to manage? If you unlearn the inherited silence of generations past and reject that culturally imposed dread, what actually opens up for you? And this brilliantly illustrates the heart of the matter right here. You are not disappearing. You are arriving. Somewhere behind you is a long, unbroken line of women who crossed this exact same threshold. The medicine keepers, the elders, the ones who literally remembered where the food was in the lean years. You are joining them. To deepen your understanding of this incredible wise passage, Menopause, a Wise Passage will be available soon as an ebook and eventually in print exclusively via Joyful Healing on Patreon. I highly, highly encourage you to seek it out as your personal guide. So as you move through your days this week, I want to leave you with this final thought. Whose life are you calmly guiding right now simply by virtue of your presence and your hard-earned wisdom? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer today. Keep asking those big questions and keep honoring your passage.